What if the very part of yourself you've been afraid to look at, the anger you bottle up, the envy you bury, the instincts you shame, holds the key to your ultimate strength? Carl Jung called this hidden realm your shadow, the sum of every trait you've repressed or denied. Most people treat it like a curse, shoving it into the basement of their mind. But what if you stopped fighting your darkness and learned to harness it instead? In this video, you'll discover Jung's secret to unstoppable self-mastery, how embracing your shadow transforms buried fears into raw fuel, toxic impulses into creative sparks, and fractured identity into unshakable wholeness. Ready to turn what you once feared into your greatest ally? Let's begin. Recognize the shadow as a source of growth. You've spent your life treating the shadow, those hidden parts of yourself you deem bad, as baggage to hide. Anger gets shoved down, jealousy turns inward, fear sits motionless in the back of your mind. But here's the paradox. The very traits you've tried to suppress are brimming with creative potential and raw energy waiting to be reclaimed. Imagine that locked attic in your house, filled with dusty boxes labeled, "Do not open." Inside, you'll find old journals, half-forgotten dreams, and tools you never learned to use. That attic is your shadow. It holds not only pain, but also power, qualities that, when acknowledged and integrated, fuel profound personal growth. Carl Jung himself warned, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Step 1 is simple. Notice. The next time you feel a surge of anger, ask, what need is this anger trying to protect? When envy flares, query, what desire is buried beneath this green flame? If fear paralyzes you, explore, what discovery would set me free? Try this exercise tonight. 1. Grab a notebook. 2. Write down the emotion you judge most. Shame, pride, greed, whatever it is. 3. Ask, if this emotion could teach me one lesson, what would it say? 4. Don't censor. Let the answers flow. You might be surprised to find anger's lesson is boundary, knowing when to say no. Or envy's gift is a roadmap to the life you truly want. Fear's wisdom may reveal a path you've long avoided. By reframing these negative impulses as carriers of insight, you transform your shadow from enemy into alchemist. You turn lead into gold, darkness into dynamism. The traits you once saw as weaknesses become your greatest strengths, fueling creativity, empathy, and resilience. Embrace this first step, and you'll discover that your most feared parts are the very fuel you need for unstoppable self-mastery. Unconscious impact and projection in daily life. Every day, invisible currents steer your actions. You think you decide what to say, how to feel, whom to trust. But much of your behavior is driven by unconscious forces you've never named. Jung taught that the shadow doesn't stay hidden. It leaks out through slips of the tongue, knee-jerk reactions, and the qualities you can't stand in others. Notice it next time you feel sudden irritation. Did someone cut you off in traffic? Or did you just witness your own impatience mirrored back? When you're enraged at a friend's boast, are you hearing arrogance or the jagged echo of your own insecurity? This is projection, your psyche's defense mechanism that projects unacknowledged traits onto the world. It's like a smeared mirror. When you can't see yourself, you see your shadow everywhere else. You condemn judgmental people for their harsh words, not realizing you're the one silencing your own truth. You despise selfishness, unaware how often you say yes when you really want to say no. To reclaim your power, start by pausing in moments of strong emotion. 1. Name the charge. I feel anger. I feel fear. I feel envy. 2. Own it inwardly. That feeling arises from me, not them. 3. Ask the deeper question. What unspoken need or wound does this feeling point to? By turning the lens inward, projection becomes your greatest teacher. You learn that the furious driver on the highway is a reflection of your own rush for control. That jealous coworker is a signal of dreams you've doubted. Each projection reveals a piece of your unconscious, waiting to be reclaimed. As you integrate these discoveries, honoring them without judgment, you stop reacting from hidden scripts. Instead, you choose your response consciously, crafting healthier habits, deeper empathy, and clearer relationships. When you master projection, you no longer stumble through life at the mercy of unseen shadows. You become the artist of your own psyche, transforming reactivity into deliberate, empowered living. Ancestral and cultural shadows, patterns across generations. You carry more than your own experiences. Hidden within your psyche are echoes of your parents, grandparents, and countless ancestors before them. Jung called this the collective unconscious, a reservoir of shared memories, traumas, and archetypes passed down like genetic code. When an ancestor suffered betrayal, for instance, that wound can weave its way into your own life, resurfacing as inexplicable fears or self-sabotaging behaviors. Imagine a river fed by tributaries. Your personal issues are one stream, but ancestral currents run deep beneath the surface. Perhaps you've never understood why you recoil from vulnerability, yet your great-grandmother, who survived persecution, taught her children to hide their feelings to stay safe. Those unspoken lessons became family lore, buried in stories never told aloud. Society, too, shapes your shadow. Cultural norms define which traits are good or bad: masculinity, success, emotional expression. When you suppress parts of yourself to fit an external mold, you bury them in the same attic as ancestral wounds. Over time, these suppressed traits grow restless, pushing you toward patterns you don't consciously choose. To break these cycles, you must shine light on them. 1. Trace the lineage. Ask family elders about recurring themes: addiction, perfectionism, fear of failure. 2. Recognize cultural scripts. Which behaviors did your community praise or condemn? Notice when you feel shame that isn't yours but inherited. 3. Ritualize release. Write down a limiting family belief: we don't talk about our pain. Then symbolically burn or bury the paper as a promise to forge your own path. As you disentangle yourself from these inherited shadows, you gain freedom. The patterns that once ruled your choices dissolve, and you step into sovereignty over your own life. By integrating both your personal and ancestral shadows, you reclaim not just your power, but the power of generations to come, creating a new legacy of conscious, authentic living. Active imagination, a dialogue with your shadow. You might think your shadow lives in darkness, but Jung gave you a flashlight. Active imagination. This method lets you step into a creative conversation with the parts of yourself you've locked away. Imagine entering a quiet room inside your mind. In the corner, your shadow waits, an indistinct figure, shape, or even a vivid image. Instead of fleeing, you approach and ask, "Why are you here? What do you want from me? How can we work together?" You don't analyze or judge what emerges. You simply observe and record. Images, emotions, words, like a scientist mapping uncharted terrain. Perhaps your anger appears as a roaring lion, your envy as a child clutching a toy. Maybe creativity takes the form of a fiery phoenix. Whatever arises, you engage in dialogue. 1. Set aside time. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. 2. Invite an image. Ask the shadow to reveal itself in whatever form it chooses. 3. Converse freely. Pose open questions. Stay curious. 4. Journal the exchange. Write everything down, no filter. 5. Translate insight into action. If the shadow requests boundaries, claim them. If it seeks expression, pick up that long-forgotten paintbrush. Through active imagination, your shadow becomes a partner instead of a saboteur. Those raw energies, rage, grief, desire, learn to speak a language you understand. When anger roars, you know it's guarding a boundary. When fear trembles, you know it's pointing toward growth. This creative dialogue rewrites the narrative. From a hidden adversary to an ally forging your self-mastery. By welcoming your shadow into conscious conversation, you unlock wells of wisdom and power that were always yours, waiting patiently in the wings of your psyche. Emotional honesty and self-compassion, the heart of integration. You're stepping into your shadow's world, and it can feel like wandering through ruins. Old hurts, shame, anger, they rise up demanding attention. Without self-compassion, this journey becomes a gauntlet of self-judgment and despair. Emotional honesty is your compass, compassion, your shelter. That simple act of acknowledgement cracks open space for self-kindness. Imagine you're comforting a friend. You wouldn't mock their pain. You'd say, "It's okay to feel this." So turn that same tenderness inward. Try this practice tonight. First, mirror exercise. Stand before a mirror, look into your own eyes, and state one difficult emotion you've ignored. Second, gentle affirmation. Follow with, "It makes sense I feel this way. Anyone in my place would." 3. Breathe into kindness. Inhale compassion. Exhale judgment. When your shadow surfaces through a surge of guilt or a flash of envy, pause. Don't shove it down. Instead, name it. I feel ashamed. I'm angry right now. I'm scared of failure. Over time, these small acts build neural pathways of care. Shame loosens its grip. Self-criticism softens into curiosity. Emotional honesty no longer feels like dredging up pain, but like clearing weeds to sow new growth. As you cultivate self-compassion, your shadow becomes less a source of fear and more a reservoir of understanding. You learn that every dark emotion carries a message, a boundary to set, a desire to honor, a truth to speak. This marriage of honesty and kindness, the heart of integration, gives you the emotional resilience to keep exploring, keep transforming, and ultimately keep mastering the life you're here to live. From shadow integration to unstoppable self-mastery, you've unlocked the power of your shadow. Now it's time to wield it. True self-mastery isn't about erasing your flaws, but harnessing them. When you integrate anger, it becomes healthy assertiveness. When you embrace fear, it becomes cautious wisdom. When you reclaim envy, it becomes a compass, pointing to untapped aspirations. Here's how to transform integration into unstoppable growth. 1. Own your strengths and limits. List one dark trait you've reclaimed. Anger as boundary, sorrow as depth, impatience as drive. Apply it deliberately. Speak up when it matters. Use your passion to fuel a project. Let your sensitivity guide creative work. 2. Create rituals of empowerment. Each morning, journal one shadow lesson. Today, I'll channel my restlessness into focused action. At night, reflect on how you used your integrated traits to navigate the day. Third, set micro-experiments. Test a new behavior born from your shadow. If you fought shyness, initiate a difficult conversation. Observe what shifts. Usually resistance gives way to fresh confidence. 4. Cultivate shadow allies. Surround yourself with people who respect your whole self, not just your light. These relationships mirror your growth and hold you accountable. 5. Celebrate your wholeness. Recognize that self-mastery isn't perfection. It's a dynamic dance of light and dark. Acknowledge each victory, no matter how small, as proof that you're writing your own script, not living someone else's. When integration flows into action, you become the author of your fate, not a puppet of hidden forces. Your shadow fuels your resilience, your creativity, and your authenticity. Step into that power, and you'll discover what Jung meant by self-mastery, a life guided by conscious will, informed by every part of who you are. Conclusion. You've taken the path few dare to walk, into the hidden corners of your psyche. You've recognized your shadow's gifts, confronted unconscious projections, unraveled ancestral and cultural scripts, held genuine conversations with your inner darkness, and nurtured yourself with honesty and compassion. All of these steps, woven together, lead you to one truth. Your shadow is not a prison. It's your launch pad. When you integrate what you once feared, you stop reacting and start choosing. You no longer collide with life's challenges. You negotiate with them. Your anger becomes assertive boundaries. Your doubt becomes cautious strategy. Your envy becomes a map to unspoken goals. In this alchemy, the lead of your past transforms into the gold of self-mastery. Life will still challenge you. Your shadow will continue to surface in new ways. But now, you have the tools, curiosity, compassion, active imagination, to meet it head-on. Each moment of self-awareness weaves a thread of strength into your character. Each act of integration deepens your authenticity. So step forward, fully. Embrace every part of yourself, light and dark alike. That is the essence of Jung's secret to unstoppable self-mastery. Not perfection, but wholeness. And in that wholeness, you become the conscious creator of your own destiny. And also, seek wisdom.